Welcome to Pets and People. I'm Catherine Steinke, Behavior Program Manager at Willamette Humane Society, and today we're talking about our community cat program. I have Kirsten Strauss joining us, so please tune in and learn more about how to get your own cat spayed or neutered so that you can prevent the cat overpopulation that we're experiencing like so many communities, and learn how to get your kitties off to a great start with socialization and training. Find out how you can become a foster parent so that you can help the little kitties that are born get off to a better start and get into adoptive homes. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Hi, Kirsten.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is exciting. So you are Willamette Humane's Community Cat Coordinator.
Yes, that is my job title, which is a mystery to some people, but it means that I mostly coordinate our outreach programs, spay and neuter programs for community cats, which is an all-encompassing term that goes for feral cats, stray cats, other cats that are just part of the community that maybe don't have an owner or do have an owner, or they're just cats that somebody takes care of. It's sort of all of those.
So these are the cats in our community when you look out the window and they're prowling around your house, but they don't necessarily belong to anyone, or
exactly.
they're passing through.
Yeah, passing through. That's a good way to phrase it. They could belong to a shop, or they could be in your neighbor's backyard, or they could be, basically anywhere in our community. So
how did this program get started?
So that started last year when we received a very generous grant from PetSmart Charities to fund spay and neuter for both personal cats from zip code 97301 as well as community cats. Okay. So we have money available for folks to get their cats spayed, neutered, vaccinated, dewormed, flea treated, so they have sort of a health overhaul, and then they can be returned back to either their owners or to the place that they call home, whether or not they have an owner.
Okay. Are those cats identified in any particular way once they've come through the program?
Yes, and that's a very important part of the program. As they get spayed and neutered, each one of the cats receives an ear tip where we cut about 1/4 of an inch off of their right ear, and that just means their ear is a little flat on that side, and that way you can tell from a distance that this cat has been spayed or neutered, vaccinated,
Excellent.
And that way it doesn't have to go through that whole process of being trapped again.
Right, because I can imagine that would be very stressful for them.
It's stressful for the cat, and it's frustrating too when this cat's already altered and you've gone through all of this time.
All the process, trying to get them there, because that's not an easy thing. So the whole idea of the trap, neuter, and release, I think some people are confused by that idea. If we're trapping them and then altering them, why aren't we adopting them out, or what's the reason for putting them back in the community?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it really just comes down to the adoptability of these cats. Most of these cats are not friendly. They don't like being around people. They run away from people, in fact, and they might get used to the person that feeds them, but generally they're not going to be the cat that feels comfortable in a shelter environment. They're not going to be the kind of cat that even feels comfortable inside of a house.
Oh wow.
They want to be outside. They want to be part of their own territory. And by spaying and neutering them, we can ensure that these cats don't reproduce any more kittens. So you have a nice sort of well-managed group of community cats, in your shed or your shop or whatever it is. And those cats are spayed and neutered, they don't have any more kittens, and that way they keep other cats from coming in. So it can really help with the overall population of cats in our community, which is, there's a lot of cats in our community. That was the whole impetus for the grant that we applied for, was to help control this population, this very large population of stray cats that we have.
So this is a relatively new program, about a year old?
About a year old.
Okay.
Our spay and neuter clinic has offered TNR services for a long time, so I think since we opened actually, but it's only been really recently that we've really tried to promote that to our community and offer reduced cost and free cost for these TNR surgeries, since we do want to be a leader in reducing the cat population, the stray cat population.
Are we seeing
community.
any kind of a population decrease in that, or is that too short of a time to really start to look at the numbers?
You know, I'm not sure. It's pretty short time to look at the numbers, and it can be a little bit difficult to tell right away. Usually you need at least 3 or 4 years of a program to really see any sort of population decline from a particular area. But we've done well over 30,000 surgeries for
30,000.
A lot of surgeries.
That's fantastic.
And that's from all over the community. That's not just the 97301 zip code, but it is from all over the community. So we're hoping that that's a good number.
That's
so
a
we're
huge number.
hoping that
that's got to have an impact.
Yeah, we're hoping that we'll start seeing that here really soon.
So do you have volunteers that work with you, and how can someone get involved?
Yeah, we do have volunteers that work with us. It would be wonderful if we could have more people who are interested in helping us trap the cats. It can be a pretty easy process if you know how to do it well. Generally, if you're feeding the cats, you can start feeding the cats about a week beforehand from inside of the live trap that you use. But instead of setting the trap, you just zip tie or twist tie the door open, so they get used to going in and out of the trap pretty easily. And then the day before, you just unzip tie it, they go in there, and they're trapped and ready for their appointment. So. All right, so this is a live trap for those of you who are interested. This is a Tomahawk live trap, which we have available for rent here at our spay and neuter clinic. And there are several ways in which you can use it. This side, you can just slide right off, and you can put the food in there. You want to make sure it's going to be behind this step lever, and that's going to be what they step on to close the trap. So if you're setting the trap, you would go ahead and put the food right in there. You would go ahead and slide this down. And then just make sure you do latch it so the cat doesn't get out, because that would be problematic, especially if it's in your car. On this side, you'll see that this is where you can go ahead and set this trap open. When you're doing the pre-feeding, so the week before feeding, what you would want to do is just zip tie it right here on this side. We found that the cats are very smart, so if you open that side instead of this side, the day of the surgery, they'll be, oh, there's something different, and they might not go in the trap. So it's always good to do it just as exactly as you can on that day of the surgery. So you would go ahead and zip tie it right here, and then they would get used to going in and out. On the day of the surgery or the night before, what you would do is you just unzip tie it and then go ahead and set it. You'll see right here that there's a little lever. I'm sure it's probably a little hard to see since it's small, but right here you would go ahead and lift that there. You'll notice that this lever is up, and then as soon as they step on that lever, this door will close behind them, which is pretty easy. We also really encourage folks to cover the trap as they're waiting for the cat to go in there. Sort of simulates a den sort of atmosphere, so the cat feels more comfortable going right into the trap. And then the day of the surgery, hopefully you'll have a little kitty in there, and then the trap will just go ahead and set. And it just sort of, if you can't really do it from in here, but if you just push this little thing, you'll see that this just closes right behind like that. And they're caught in there, and everybody's safe, and they're ready for their surgery. And this is where we do our spay and neuter of our feral kitties. So we have our community cat program, where we have stray cats or feral cats or any sort of just community cat will come in and be spayed and neutered in our clinic here. All right, so this is a really good number of feral cats that we got in today. Generally, we schedule about 45 feral kitties, and we usually have around 30 or so show up, so that's a really good number for us. They stay in their traps during their surgery process, so we go ahead and anesthetize them. They are spayed and neutered, and then they have their recovery time in the traps as well. They'll spend the night in these traps, and then tomorrow in the morning, as long as they're looking good and alert, then we'll go ahead and have their owners let them out. Can I have that chlorhex? So these guys are recovering, and our lovely technicians over here are keeping a close eye on them as they wake up from their surgery to make sure that everything looks good. They've got a nice little warm rice pack in there with them to help them as they wake up, so they need to be nice and warm. Alright, so this is our cat room. So we have our public and shelter kitties. They do their recovery time in here, so that's pretty nice and that's good for them.
And don't you also go out into the community to pass out flyers? I've seen a few times that you posted on Facebook where you were having these march through certain areas of that particular zip code.
Yeah, so excuse me. That's another thing that we could really use help with as well. We are trying to target particular neighborhoods within 97301 that do have a higher population of cats, as far as we can tell from volunteer calls or people calling to tell me about cats they've seen in a particular area. So we'll target those areas with a door-to-door outreach campaign where we go and we knock on doors and we just say, hey, did you know that you qualify for free spay and neuter for any cats that you're caring for that are your personal cat or that are a cat that might just, you know, be in the neighborhood or something like that. So we offer those services to people, and it's been very well received.
I imagine it would be. So once they've brought a cat in, or if they're going to bring a cat into the spay and neuter clinic, what's that process like? How does that happen?
So generally what you'd want to do is first step is to get a trap. You can either rent that from our spay and neuter facility, or you can get your own, or there's several other places you can rent them in the area. Then about a week before your appointment, you would start feeding the cat inside the trap, like I explained earlier. Then on the day of your appointment, you would bring the cat to the clinic. The drop-off time is generally 7:15, and then you can go do whatever you'd like to do during the day. You come back, and at 4 p.m. we'll give you the cat back inside the trap. It needs to stay inside that trap overnight, and then in the morning, as long as it's looking alert and awake, you can go ahead and let it out. And you've got an altered cat that will help with your rodent control, and it will help keep new unaltered cats out of your area. So
fantastic, super exciting, easy to get involved with, low cost, and a great benefit to the overall community and keeping the explosion of cats that you're going to end up with if you don't do something. So a great way to get involved. Well, thank you so much for
thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting for telling us all about that. And so we're going to take a look at some kittens now. I'm really excited. We've got some kittens coming.
It's a feral cat den. A lot of people wonder about the feral cats outside, especially during the winter and the cold months, because we don't want them to be uncomfortable. We want them to be happy outside. And one really easy way to do that is by building a feral cat den.
Okay.
You can see that this is we found this at the thrift store. It's just a used roughneck Rubbermaid tote, and we cut a little portion out of the top here.
Okay.
One important thing when you're making a feral cat den is that you want to be careful with the knife, obviously.
Okay.
And then number two, you want this little hole right here to be somewhat above the end, somewhat above the ground.
Okay.
That way, if it rains, there's not water that's seeping in through the bottom here, so you have a little bit
waterproof.
of a little bit there.
And do they need to be careful about this being sharp at all? Or?
Yeah, I happen to have somebody cut it for me who was very good with the knife, so he did it really well. But if you don't happen to do it quite as well as he did, you can always just put some duct tape around to sort of cover the sides, and that way it makes it nice and smooth.
Okay.
And then on the inside, so you can just take this lid off, which makes it nice and watertight, which is good. And inside we have just a regular old styrofoam cooler.
Very cool.
Yeah, so very
there's
easy.
some insulation. And do you put anything on the inside of that, or is it just enough to have the?
Generally, we suggest some straw is a really good thing because it's easy to replace and it kind of absorbs any extra moisture that might come in from their paws or something like that.
Or if they come in from a rainstorm and they're wet, they've got someplace nice and dry.
I don't like to put the straw in here because it gets everywhere while I'm showing, but it's definitely good to have some straw in there. And then you can just put this lid right back on, and then you put this lid in, and you've got a nice watertight area to keep your little feral kitties outside.
Okay, so if you have cats in the community that might not have a nice place to shelter, this is a great and fairly inexpensive way, especially if you're getting this at our thrift store. store.
Yeah, exactly.
So that they can come in and just get a container and put that together for a pretty low price, and in the winter months especially, I would assume. But I guess also do the cats actually use this during the spring and other seasons?
They'll use it to stay dry for sure, because it's a nice dry, warm spot for them to stay. So definitely important during the winter, not so important during the summer, but a nice getaway for them to have.
And I noticed that my cat likes to find the little cubby holes in the house, and she'll just hunker down, and they like small spaces, so I would guess that these would be great for them.
Yeah, they're very nice, and it provides them a little space. You'll often find with feral cats that they become much better neighbors after you have them spayed or neutered. One, there's a lot less fighting, there's a lot less spraying, so they don't smell as bad, and they don't have any of those mating behaviors that they want to partake in anymore. So they really become healthy, happy little guys that maybe don't want to hang out with you, but they are much healthier, they don't smell bad, they're stopped yowling. So they become much better neighbors, and this is a great way to make sure they have a spot to stay.
Fantastic. And so if we're not spaying and neutering, then what we're going to end up with, and here they come. So here come all the kitties.
Little kittens.
Hi guys. So these kittens were not trapped, just so you know. These kittens were brought in by one of our foster moms. We had a kitty that was relinquished to the shelter who was pregnant, and we have a foster kitten program where the cats can be kept safe and dry and warm and cared for while they are in their infancy. So these kitties are about a month old, and so gosh, that means about the time we air this program, they should be coming available for adoption.
That is true.
Oh, you're okay.
And fostering is a really wonderful way to get involved with the shelter. We're always in need of people to take care of little kittens like this. The ultimate goal of TNR, of course, is to have less little kittens, but when we do have little kittens, we do need people to take care of them.
Absolutely.
So, it's really fun.
Sounds like a really tough job, too. And a great family activity, right? So we could have, we can have a whole generation of little youth growing up learning how to take care of kittens over the summer. So if you want a great little summer project, you can become a foster family for a litter of kittens and socialize them and help them learn how to get off to a great start. Yeah, this is a really tough part of my job right here. But a great opportunity to talk about how we can socialize kittens, and also your pet parent tip for the week is that, did you know you can actually train your cat? It is true. So we have a great Clicker Kitty video available on our YouTube channel. At if you go to our website and click on our YouTube channel in the upper right hand corner and check under our playlists for cat training and behavior, scroll down and you'll see the Clicker Kitty workshop that I taught at the Humane Society about a year ago. And you were in that class,
I was in that
weren't
class.
you?
It was very fun. It inspired me to teach my cat how to sit, which he does very well now. So.
I love it. And you can also use it to teach your kitty to accept veterinary procedures so that they're more relaxed, and to participate in their own care. Also to walk on a leash and to come when called, and many, many tricks. So if you're interested in kitty training, that's a great way to go about it. These guys are amazing. Okay, you need to let go, honey. Oh my goodness. Oh, gosh. So educate us a little bit about the colors of these kitties. It looks like we have a real variety.
Yeah, so we've got a little buff kitten right here. So you've got the light orange, which is called Buff. And then this little one is a Torby, which is a Torby. It's a combination between tortoiseshell and tabby.
Okay.
So you can see that she's got the 3 different colors. So she's got the black and the white and the orange.
Okay.
And that means that she's a girl as well. That that color gene is colored on or carried on the girl chromosome. I can't quite remember the science behind it, but it's true. And then this one right here is a dilute tortoiseshell. So she's got these little orange speckles on her, and that gray color is called dilute. So she's a dilute tortoiseshell. And then we've just got a little black guy right here who is very, very cute. And he's got a little crinky tail. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, he does. So does this one as well.
Apparently Mom has a crinky tail.
Does Mom have a little crinky tail too? Now this one looks like he's going to have some silver in him as well. Like he's not going to be solid black. Will he get darker as he gets older, or will that become more prevalent, do you think?
It definitely depends. I've seen adult kitties where you can still see that where you can still see the sword of silver on there. I actually learned recently that black cats actually have a tabby pattern. It's just that both colors are black, so that's why they are black. So sometimes you can see that that tabby pattern will be a slightly different color.
Okay, awesome. Oh my goodness. Okay, honey. Well, Kristen, thank you again so much for bringing in information about our community cats and the programs that we have available to participate. Really excited about that. How do people get in touch with you for more information?
Well, they can always give me a call. Kirsten Strauss at WHS Pets is my email, or you can give me a call. You can find my phone number online.
Okay.
So yeah.
And we have a link on the website somewhere.
We've
Where is
got a
that?
link on the website. It's under the community cat. It's called the Marion Polk Community Cat Program, which is sort of the overall group that Salem Friends of Felines is involved in, the Feral Cat Coalition of Oregon is involved in, and we all sort of work together to combat the overpopulation of cats in our area.
Yeah,
and so
fantastic. I've seen when everybody's come in for those meetings, and it's a huge number of people supporting this venture. So really exciting.
It's really great.
I love it. Well, thanks again for joining us for Willamette Humane Pets and People. I hope that you find some time this week to enjoy your pets more. Please make time to play with them. And I hope that you'll join us, come down to the shelter where you might meet your #1 fan.
Ready? Go. Yeah, sounds like that. Great. As soon as she goes over, and then she so bite too.
Hi, buddy. Hi, honey.